Hello, people. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fine. Today, we will talk about simple present. Is a tense in English that you will use um, with some. Uh, it's a very common tense for being used, right? And I will show you some examples how to use it and to make it clear for you. Okay, so let's start. We use the simple present to talk about something that is true in the present. In some places you will see the expression present simple or simple present. It doesn't matter. It's the same. We are talking about the same thing. Here we have some examples like I'm 19 years old. I am a student. He lives in London. So here are the first two examples. You have the verb to be, and the third example you have the verb to live. Uh, also talk about something that happens regularly in the present. So I play football every weekend. As we can see in the picture, there are some girls playing football. So it means there is an activity that I do constantly. So that's it. Something that is always true. So the human body contains 206 bones. Light travels at almost 300,000 kilometers per second. So these are information that doesn't change unless somebody appear with a different theory, but it sounds like an information that is established and it doesn't change. We often use adverbs of frequency like sometimes, always, and never with the present simple. So I sometimes go to the cinema. She never plays football. And this using of these adverbs is to show how frequent you do something or not. The negative form is we use do and does to make negatives with the present simple or simple present. We use doesn't for the third person, she, he, and it, and don't for the others. So the negative is done when they're talking about um, the main verbs. We are not talking about the verb to be here because it's different. So, an example here I like tennis, but I don't like football. I don't live in London now. I don't play the piano, but I play the guitar. They don't work at the weekend. John doesn't live in Manchester, so doesn't it is it's the short form, it's the contract form of does and not. Angela doesn't drive to work. She goes by bus. And here that's an image of the Who's Magic Bus. It's a song for them. So the negative form of the simple present, you use do not or does not to the main verb. Then we have interrogative form that we do here with the main verbs. The main verbs. Um, and here we use do and does to make questions with the present simple or simple present. We use does for the third person singular and do for the others. So we have here, do you play the piano? Where do you live? Does Jack play football? Where does he come from? Do Rita and Angela live in Manchester? Where do they work? And here we have a cover of the song Rave On from the Happy Mondays. So and they do this wordplay with Manchester by Manchester, uh, because it's related to some, as you can see, rave on. So rave is that kind of party where people took some ecstasy, some drugs that alter the consciousness, and they got mad for a while, at least. And so when you hear about Manchester, you just remember uh, about this connection, right? Um, and here we use do and does with question words like where, what, and when. So that's another way to do an interrogative when you use question words. So, where do Angela and Rita live? What does Angela do? When does Rita usually get up? But pay attention. Questions with who often don't use do or does. So, for example, who lives in London? Who plays football at the weekend? Who works at Liverpool City Hospital? So, in this case, as you have as our answer a name of a person, uh, so in this case, you don't use do or does. And here I brought you for us to finish our class a song from a punk rock band named the Sex Pistols. It's a band from the 70s, from the first wave of punk movement, like 77, 76, around that. And here we have, in the word, some expressions in the simple present, right? So let's check them out, right? First of all, we have here I am an antichrist, I am an anarchist, and here it's an example when you have the verb to be in the simple present. Uh, but then we just keep on, don't know what I want. And this is interesting because in English, most of the times you use a pronoun to identify which person of the speech you are talking. And here in this case, I don't know what I want, but he's not using the I at the beginning, probably because he is borrowing from the first two sentences. But I know how to get it. I want to destroy the passerby. Passerby is the people walking the streets because I want to be anarchy. So it's coming sometime. It is coming sometime. I give a wrong time. Stop a traffic line. So it's a kind of doing the rhyme for I want to be anarchy. I use the best. I use the rest. I use the NME. NME is a magazine, right? New Musical Express. I use anarchy. So as you can see, these lyrics you have they have some simple present for the verb to be at the beginning, but then they have other structures for the simple present, and it's interesting because it's a song from the 70s, but lyrics sound very contemporary, right? Because probably younger generation always has this thing about being angry about something, trying to face the older generation. It's an normal stretch. But as you can see, life is too interesting. The singer for this band, uh, Johnny Rotten, he was a Donald Trump supporter for the previous elections. So, and now some people make jokes, say, "Oh, yes, he said he was an antichrist. He was right," you know. All right, people. So this is the class for today. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.